There has been a machine age for about 250 years. It's called the Industrial Revolution. Except now we're going into an age when our machines are beginning to include intelligence. It used to be that a machine could only do one thing. The gears could only turn a certain way. Plungers could only work a certain way. Levers could only work a certain way. Now we have machines that can actually do a variety of things, and we're building intelligence into the machines. So now we have the information machine, and they're beginning to replace humans. Now, machines replacing humans is nothing new. I mean, cars replaced buggies and horses. Trucks replaced, big wagons. But to have an information machine starts replacing things that are used to be thought of as too complicated for a machine to do, like take an order at a counter, or process the food, or build a box. Believe it or not, a box is a relatively complicated thing to build out of cardboard. But yet, these days, that can be done by machines. I met a guy once who earned a living designing boxes. That's all he did. Design where the folds went, where the creases went, where the printing went, so you could fold up this whole box and, for the product. Nowadays, a secretary just punches into a software program the part number, and the database already has all the dimensions, the kind of packing needed, the box would be necessary, builds up the box, information goes out to a machine that cuts and folds the boxes. No humans involved. So where did the humans go that used to design the boxes? Where did the humans go that used to do the other things? Those are good questions. Somewhere they went. They had to develop new skills. When I got out of the Army, I worked at an engineering company. We built frames for Buick Electras. The frame was 2 rails with some cross pieces and a whole bunch of little brackets on it to hold various components and to tie down the body to the frame. Nowadays, we have unibody construction. We don't have big long rails underneath our cars, and machines do the welding. So where did the line welders go? I don't know. They had to learn to do something different. Every time we have a technological leap, we have to have workers retrained to do something different. What happens when you shut down logging like we did about 20 years ago? 10,000 loggers were out of work. Nobody thought about retraining them before we shut down the forests. Obama had this war on coal. Did anybody think about what to do with coal miners when we shut down mines? No. That question must be answered before you introduce a major shift in technology. Now we're talking about self-driving cars. What happens to the 8 million people who drive taxis, cars, and trucks? They do it for a living. What happens to their living when you introduce all this stuff? Sometimes technology is not a great idea. Sometimes it's a great idea to think before you drop the shoe on the industry. So we are in an information machine age, but we're going to have to start thinking with our heads instead of looking at the greatest and most cool thing and think, oh, if it's cool and modern, that's what we have to do. No, we don't necessarily have to leap off the cliff. We could just slide down the hill a little bit first. So what are we going to do? Well, there are jobs and skill sets that are very unlikely to be replaced by a machine. Machines can't drive out to the house and install things in people's homes and their offices and business buildings. Like, fix the electrician's work or install new electricity, new lines, new pipes, a lot of things like that. There's a lot of welding that has to be done on site, a lot of large pipes that have to be welded on site. There's just a lot of things that require human intelligence, human ingenuity, and require skills. And we need to have a resurgence of a lot of these skill sets being taught back at the high school level, and shortly out of high school, our vocational system needs to be upgraded. We need to reinstall it back into our high schools like we did, 30, 40 years ago, before we were getting all sophisticated and thought, intellectual learning was the path to a job. It's not. That's how we get into things like a CEO who knows absolutely nothing about the company that he's supposed to be managing, and he winds up driving it into the ground. I lost a job that way once. CEO knew nothing about the kind of store that he was supposed to be running, this chain, and drove it into the ground and bankrupted it. Somebody else hired him, he got his bonus, and away he went, and thousands of workers were left out on the street because we're too stupid to understand that an education is not a panacea, is not the last word. So learn to do something that can't be replaced by a machine. That's a good set of skills to have to keep you running all through this smart information age, this age of smart machines.